Hi patrons, and today's video is a bit of a special request. Ruth's got in touch with me and she was asking me about the best pens to use to write on slate. What could she use for her faux calligraphy? She's going to do something at Christmas time, spoiler alert. And I said to her, do you know something? The whole good thing about this patron thing is that I can respond to you and I can engage with you. So I have made this video today to answer, hopefully, your quick questions, because I have a lot of art supplies. Boy, do I have a lot of art supplies. So 3 different types of pen here that are things that I've tried out on different materials, and I've got a piece of slate here to let you know. I keep my pens. What I do is I get them in the boxes that they come in, and then I use these. Other shops are available, but very high quality freezer bag type things, because they're snap shut at the top. Yeah, and I put the batches of pen in there along with any instructions that come with them. Why do we do this? Because most pens come in different boxes and they're all different shapes and you can't really fit them in a shelf. So these pens here are acrylic paint markers, but they're particularly metallic. I got them from Amazon. This is what the branding looks like here. There's quite a lot, as you can see in that bag. 5, it's probably about 16 of them. I'm going to be honest, I'm not that impressed with them, but I'll show you in a minute what I got. Okay, now these are my trusty faithfuls. As an artist, I already knew secretly about these and they have been brilliant, especially for sign writing. These are acrylic paint markers and I'll be showing you something I've made with them for patrons only shortly. And then finally we've got chalk markers. Now these are brilliant because they're not permanent. So let's talk about them first. These are, you might have seen a version of these online called Poco pens or Poc, something like that. I tutor a girl in art, she's 11, and she was asking me, oh, have you got those pens that are like those Poco pens? I was like, what? And I bought these from Amazon. They're the slightly less expensive version. With all pens like this, I'd give you some advice to store them not in a hot place or daylight, because it tends to dry them out. Because I don't know if you remember those gold and silver pens years ago that you had to press the end to get them going. I've got some scrap paper here. But what you'll find is, let's use one that's not white so you can see. You'll see that these are actually different thicknesses. So they come in a set of 6. And you've got some thin ones and some thick ones. I really don't think they were any more than 10 quid. And let's take one of the thick ones here. My advice to you is always to give it a shake. You can hear that. The paint is inside this part here. And obviously by having the pen upright and pressing down and pushing the nib in, you activate the flow. And a lot of these pens come where they're not activated, because otherwise they'd splodge everywhere. And you can see the colouring is really, really vivid. If you don't press the ends in, you might find they come, there you go, like that, and nothing happens. Let's give that a shake. Okay, and a press down at the end. This is where we find out this one's not working very well. I haven't used them for a little while. Look at that. It's actually turned to chalk. Look at that. That's amazing. Might be time to get a new blue one. Okay, we won't be using blue today. Ah, look, see, eventually it does start to come through. Right, I'll have to give that some work off camera. What about pink? Let's see how the pink's going. Oh, the pink's fine. Okay, so really, depending on how much you press the end of that down, is how much you activate it. And these can be really good. Why? Because you write on something and then you can wipe it off again with a wet cloth. That's pretty much it. The white is good for slate because I always test them out on a piece of paper first before I actually go on the slate itself. You can pencil something in first before you do it, if you wish. If you're feeling a little bit Bambi and you're not sure whether you're going to get it in the right place. But generally, all I'm doing when I do faux calligraphy is I don't press too hard. Still doing my breathing. I don't press too hard, and then I'll accentuate the downstrokes. Just a little bit like that. Watch out for slate because it's heavily textured. Way more textured than your watercolour paper. The texture will possibly throw you off. And look, there you go. Sometimes it'll make you just sort of go off where you intended to go. Downstroke, downstroke. If you ever have any doubt about which are the ups and which are the downs, just retrace your steps and then you can figure it out. So that's a chalk pen for you. I can wipe that off with a wet cloth later if I want. Something more permanent are these metallic markers. Again, keep some scrap paper handy for trying out pens. You don't just want to blob straight onto your surface because it'll ruin everything. And again, these, you just press the ends to activate them. These are lovely metallic. You can see here sort of quality you get. However, I did use these on a bottle that I got and I got some really good results, but then I noticed, I was hoping they would be quite permanent because they're acrylic, and I can just literally scratch off that there, which I didn't like so much. These bottles are great, by the way, look. Ooh, hang on. Will it work? Let's see if I can. Ooh, it's so pretty. And I thought, oh, that'd be a really good Christmas present. I used the red and the green, but then I accidentally scratched it. Now, the only thing I can think to get around that is if you added a coat of varnish. And I use generally Wilko quick dry varnish for stuff, but we can see that on another video. So this is how the metallic look. Really nice effect. They're thinner than those chalk markers, and technically on this slate they will be permanent. So again, let's thicken the downstrokes there to make it a bit faux. If you're new to my page, you've missed a video where I talk about faux calligraphy. Just wind it back, scroll down on the page and find my previous videos. I think I've called it faux to go, I think. There you go, metallic. So these are pretty good, and as you can see, they shine like that. Supposed to be permanent, but I think if you want it to be really permanent, you need to put a coat of varnish over the top. They come in lots of different colours. And you can even do things like add a down shadow in another colour, all on the same side of the downstrokes. It gives it another effect where you're giving it a bit of a three-dimensional effect. Maybe. Oh, I forgot that bit. Whee. Right. So this is the information for those. I got them from Amazonia online. Acrylic paint markers. I think they're about 12 quid, something like that. Loads you get in the box. They'd be really good for this kind of thing, but please consider putting varnish over the top afterwards. Wait before you put the varnish. Don't put the varnish on until they're definitely sure they're dry. So if possible, do your design and then leave it to dry till tomorrow and then put the varnish on. Why? Because it makes that run. Because even though it looks dry, it's not. Okay? And then finally, my trusty go-tos. Now, these have been more successful than anything else for me, and I pretty much love these. They came for about 15 quid. They came from Amazon. They're acrylic paint markers, or acrylic painters, they're called here. They're no particular generic brand, and you can get amazing effects like painting on plant pots. Oh, this is a bit close. Don't stop believing. It's a bit close, isn't it? I can't really get further away. I'll post a picture of that afterwards. But basically, actually, it's quite good that you can see that close, because you can see they leave a sort of a rough. They come out a bit mattified. I'll show you now. Give them a shake again before you put pen to slate. Always test them first. Press the nib in, check they're not going to just blur everywhere, and then gently. Ooh, now, the quality you get with this. Now compare this. I did my R differently from what I usually would. How about that? Caught me out. A little bit thicker, yeah, but you can see the quality of that is a thicker white. I find it quite nice actually, the sound it makes when you're doing this kind of work. Okay. But I think you can tell for yourself, this is a much bolder white. It's really strong. It's very permanent. Do not apply varnish to it straight away because it will run and go, when I personalise my plant pots, I tend to wait for the next day and then I'll put a coat of varnish over it. And when I say put a coat of varnish over, I mean brush it gently over and don't like over brush it. Literally brush it like you're doing nail polish and you don't want to mess it up. Okay, but that's your 3 types of writing on slate types of stuff that I've got to hand. Happy for you to message me if you want to check if you're getting the right ones, but I would strongly recommend acrylic markers. They are the least new inventions of the 3. Oh, another thing that these are good for, these chalk markers, is if you want to write on a jam jar and then you want to use that jam and then wipe it off and wash it afterwards and put a new batch of jam in next year. Those mason jars are really good for that. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. If you want any more information as usual, please send me a personal message and let me know what you make.